Americans want term limits on Congress, and our momentum continues to grow. In North Carolina, the House has already passed House Joint Resolution 151, sponsored by Speaker Tim Moore, to invoke Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution. Now, State Senator Todd Johnson has filed Senate Joint Resolution 487, a companion bill. Once this passes, North Carolina will join the growing roster of states pushing for congressional term limits. I'm Holly Robichaud, and this is breaking news on term limits. As I mentioned in last week's episode, Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina has filed House Joint Resolution 11, and that resolution now has 87 co-sponsors. We've got support from both parties. Now, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has promised to vote on this crucial legislation. This will be the first vote on congressional term limits since 1995. We're urging you to please visit termlimits.com/McCarthy to sign our petition urging House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to bring House Joint Resolution 11 to the floor for a vote. We also want you to contact your representative and urge them to support the resolution. You can help out by visiting on this one, termlimits.com, take action. Let's make term limits a reality. Did you know Congress today is older than it's ever been? Across all senators and representatives, the median age is 59 years old. The median senator is 65 years old, a record high, and the median representative is 58 years old. The 538 organization that did this study claims the reason for the older Congress is that members are staying in office longer than ever before. No surprise, huh? Have you seen the new polling data? A poll conducted by the University of Maryland School of Public Policy showed that passing a constitutional amendment to establish term limits on Congress was favored by 83% of registered voters nationwide. The poll showed that 86% of Republicans, 80% of Democrats, and 84% of independents all supported congressional term limits. 2,700 registered voters nationwide were polled. This poll follows up on a Gallup poll showing that only 21% of Americans approve of Congress. As you know, we're working hard to bypass Congress to get congressional term limits. In Alaska this week, State Representative Tom McKay has introduced House Joint Resolution 13 calling for congressional term limits. A recent poll conducted by Voice Broadcasting showed that 88% of voters in Alaska favor a constitutional amendment that would place term limits on Congress. In addition, 90% of the voters would want their state senator and representative to support an amendment calling for congressional term limits. This week, we're pleased to welcome Taffy Howard as our new South Dakota State Chair. Taffy is a former state representative and Air Force officer. Taffy has spent her life in service to her family and her country. From her time as an officer in the United States Air Force to her years as a homeschool mom to 6 years she spent in the South Dakota State House of Representatives. Taffy and her husband Mark have lived in Rapid City for over 30 years. They have two sons, Austin, who serves as a lieutenant in the United States Navy, and Matthew, who's currently in Mayo's School of Medicine. Taffy received a BS in mathematics and was commissioned as a second lieutenant through the Air Force ROTC program and earned her jump wings from U.S. Army Airborne School at Fort Benning. During her tenure in the South Dakota legislature, Taffy served 2 years as the vice chair of the House Appropriations Committee and was also a member of the Joint Committee on Appropriations and the House Military Veterans Affairs Committee for 6 years. She focused her time promoting limited government principles and fighting to cut taxes and regulations on the people of South Dakota. We are so glad she's joined our team. As you can see with the University of Maryland's new polling data, we have support from Americans all across this country. We're gaining momentum every single day to bring term limits to Congress, but we can't do it without your support. Please go to termlimits.com and get involved today. And make sure to tune in each week to Breaking News on Term Limits. I'm Holly Robichaud, and we'll see you next week.